Hi, my name's Matthew Sturmel, and I'll be walking you through my random number generator Java project. So first I used the scanner object. I named it SCNR just for the shorter term of scanner. It gets input from the user, and that'll be used for how they enter their guesses. Next is int random num equals random dot next int 10,000 plus 1. This is because if it were to just be random.nextInt 10,000, it would be from the variables 0 to 9,999. So you got to include the plus 1 to include 1 to 10,000. For the other variables, lower bound and upper bound define the range the user is guessing in. So it starts at 1, and then for the lower bound and upper bound starts at 10,000. User guess is just the placeholder. It's the value that'll hold the user's guess, and it'll continue to update based on what they guess. And then Boolean guess correct equals false sets that the guess is automatically false, so it just sets like a base point. So once it runs through the while loop, it'll continue to run through the while loop until guess correct is true. That leads into the while loop, as in the exclamation point means that it's not correct. So as long as it continues to be false, this while loop will run. And so then it prints out, please enter a number between %d lower bound, which is 1, and %d upper bound, which is 10,000. So it'll print out, please enter a number between 1 and 10,000. Once the user submits their guess, and using the scanner, it auto assigns that value to the integer user guess. So if that integer is less than 1 or the user guess is larger than 10,000, it'll print out invalid guess, please try again, indicating that they input something like a -10 or like 12,000. Once it prints that, it presses continue, which will jump this back up to here and read it out again so that they can make another guess. If the user's guess is less than the random number, then it'll print out your guess is too low, try again, and it'll set the lower bound to user guess. So that way they don't guess a number lower than that, because we can already assume that if their guess is too low, nothing will be lower than that. Continuing on, else if the user guess is larger than the random number, it'll print out your guess is too high, try again, and it will assign the variable upper bound with the user's guess, knowing that there's nothing higher that it can be than the user's guess if it is too high. Else if the user guesses the random number, so if they're equal, then it'll print out winner, you've guessed the correct number, and it will then set guess correct to true, which will then exit the loop and scanner close. So to run it real fast, so let's start off with right in the middle. 5,000, too low. So then it sets the lower bound to 5,000 because we know it can't be lower than 5,000. So 9,000. Guess is too high, try again. Know that it can't be higher than 9,000. Our guess was too high. So 6,000. Your guess is too low, try again, sets that again. Let's say we accidentally enter like 600. Invalid guess, try again. It doesn't reset the loop, it doesn't redo this whole thing, it just kicks it back up to the while loop and tells you to print out another number and saves both of these values. 7,000, higher than that, 8,000. Ooh, okay. 78, 7,500, 7,300, 400, 7,450, 7,430, 7,440, 7,455, 7,447, 7,448. Hey, look at that. Okay, so once you have guessed the number correctly, it'll set it to that you have the correct number, which will set that to true again and then exit the loop. So then you're all done. Some problems I found going through this was when I initially created my design project for it, I had misread the assignment. So I was under the impression that it was just a guessing thing. And so if they didn't guess the number, it just quit and then you had to start it again. After reading again, I was like, oh, you have to update the values. So that's something I had to learn, was trying to figure out if they keep guessing, how are you gonna set it to the lower bound? Which quick little Google search, and then you can find out that, oh, you can do that in the if statement. So it's subjected to this As long as this is true, then it'll update it there. Another thing that I would like that I had to keep in mind is updating the initial print statement. It had to keep updating with the lower and upper bound, so it didn't just keep printing 1 in 10,000 every time. But yeah, that's about all of the problems that I encountered while going through this. And thanks for watching.